This will be my second throttle lock. I've got a throttle lock on the ZX10 that I've been using for a couple of years now. I absolutely love it. Wouldn't go on a road trip without it. Even for like a day trip, it's still incredibly handy, and one of the things that is like an absolute lifesaver for a long ride. However, the throttle lock on the ZX10 is like a bar end style. And I'm really excited to try this one out because this is a completely different style and I think it's going to be easier to use. I struggle with the bar end style, being able to set it or adjust it. I have to kind of use two hands really, which is not optimal. But this one looks like you can actually use your thumb. So excited to give this thing a road test once we get it installed. Let's get started. The ATLAS Throttle Lock works by attaching to the throttle tube on the left side right next to the throttle housing, essentially between your throttle housing and the flange on the left side of your throttle tube. It will actually move with your throttle as you accelerate and decelerate. When you engage the throttle lock, it actually presses this tab against the throttle housing, and that's how it holds your throttle tube in place. The ATLAS Throttle Lock comes with pretty good instructions and diagrams that break out the different components that make up the throttle lock. And that's pretty important. The diagrams are pretty important because the directions will reference different components that the diagrams will point out. So you need the diagrams with the instructions to be able to understand what the instructions are asking you to do. My kit came with 2 screws. You only need one, but it came with an extra screw. I guess because they're small, maybe you lose one, which is kind of a nice idea. However, I could not, to save my life, I could not get the screw to thread into the hole. There's only one place for a screw to go. The instructions aren't that complicated. It's pretty easy and straightforward. I even tried going in reverse direction thinking maybe it had a reverse thread despite the fact that the instructions didn't state this. But I was desperate. And this is pretty much where all hell breaks loose. This is kind of the point of the video where a short, quick, easy video kind of went wrong. There are 2 screws. There's really only 1 screw needed, but ATLAS packaged 2 screws with this throttle lock kit, and one of the screws goes on to hold this bottom piece right here. Problem is I can't get either one of the screws that they packaged with the kit to thread in. The size of the hole and the size of the screw look pretty close, can't really tell, but at this point I've been kind of questioning my sanity and my intelligence, and well, this is probably the point where a normal person would pick up a phone, call the person that they ordered the kit from and say, hey, I think maybe you packaged the wrong screws. I ain't got time for that shit. So we got videos to make. We're gonna drill this sucker out and see if we can't cut in some new threads with the screws that they did give us. Let's do it. Thank you for checking your mirror, man. Much appreciated. All right, welcome to the road portion of this test. We're gonna see if this ATLAS Throttle Lock is in fact easier to use than the bar end style, which I have installed on the ZX10. So I'm kind of excited for this. All right, let's engage. Definitely, that was a piece of cake. It's definitely easier than the bar end style. Disengage. Nice, liking it. I am liking it. That works really well. Okay, now I'm in the 4th gear. I'm just gonna re-engage it. RPM's a little bit lower, and you can adjust it while you're riding, which I find that you can definitely get into a, if you're like in a hilly area, you can definitely get into a place where you're fidgeting with it
constantly, because obviously being a throttle lock, it does not adjust for ascending up a hill or descending down a hill like a ride-by-wire cruise control does. I found that on long trips. I got, like, by day 2 or 3 of my first road trip with the throttle lock, which I was very thankful for having, but I found myself kind of just like letting the bike slow down on the uphill, and you make it back up on the downhill as long as I'm not like impeding traffic behind me or something like that. Okay, I'm really kind of excited about this. This is nice. If it wasn't for the damn screws, like that should just never happen. Like, quality control completely fell asleep on the day that I ordered my ATLAS Throttle Lock. And it just, like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, the screw just would not thread into the hole. And I mean, it was really hard to tell with the naked eye. It couldn't have been off in diameter by much. That is what it is. We're making it work. And because I'm just an impatient person, I don't like to take the time, like days, to ship something back, work with some human that probably takes an hour to get to, because everybody's got robots initially that you have to, you know, they screen their phone calls with. So I'm just a very impatient person, always have been. Ask my parents, ask my wife, ask my kids, ask anybody that knows me. So I just, like, you know what, I'm just gonna drill this. I'll put new threads in it if I have to. We'll make it work. I'm not calling a robot to talk to a human to send something back, to then wait another week to get something back, especially nowadays in the COVID era. It seems like, okay, stop talking. Cruise control. I'm really happy with it. I definitely think this is better than the bar end style, without a doubt. Like, how many different ways can I say without a doubt? Like, there's just no question. This is better. It's definitely, okay, so it definitely is more functional and is better in that regard. Aesthetic wise, the bar end style is almost like a sleeper. Like, you don't even notice it's there. So if you don't like the aesthetics, you could, you know, go with the bar end style. It's not that much more difficult to engage. What I found is once you get it engaged the first time, when you start using it, it's not too hard after that. Let me just pick up the speed a little bit. But yeah, no, this was a successful purchase, and I mean, I don't mind the aesthetics. It definitely sticks out like a sore thumb. You know, like, if you've never had a throttle lock before and you were to see this on a bike, you definitely know something's up. Like, that's not supposed to be there. Where, you know, the bar end style, you might not even notice it. Even if you did, you might not think much about it. So I guess with that, I'm gonna conclude this video. All right, guys, keep the rubber side down, and we'll see you in the next video. If you're in the market for a throttle lock, it's a good one. Hopefully you get the right screws. Later, guys.